I just have to plug it all in. Do you want the other mic as well?
Shall I get everybody?
Who's doing it?
Yeah, we'll try. It's going to go around a little bit.
No.
This is good.
Ahora sí lo pongo, ¿no?
I think maybe we can move this chair here, and then the different speakers can also put over here too.
Okay, so we're going to do a presentation on the Dashavida Namaparad, the 10 offenses or the 10 obstacles to chanting the holy name. And we have as our first...
We're going to start with a little kirtan.
Okay, sure. Yeah, of course.
Just like 4 or 5 minutes.
Sure.
I don't know how it works. I did it before, but...
Because I think probably for the kid it'll be okay.
You think it's okay?
Is that on?
Okay. Hello? 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 Okay.
We need the panel mic because we're this kind of...
I'm going to get one of them to go with that.
I don't know.
Yeah, we have a classical player.
Do you want this on for now? No, you can't. Do you mean to start talking?
No.
Okay.
5 minutes. You can leave it on.
It's on.
Okay.
I'll leave it there.
I just see Krishna
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda So, okay. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Nirmala Charja Maharaj ki Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Deva Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakshak Srila Deva Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnanam Jnana Shalakaya Chaksuram Miritam Jnana Tasman Shri Gurave Namah. So today we're going to explain a little bit about what we've heard from our gurus about the Dasavida Namaparad, the 10 obstacles or offenses to chanting the holy name. And our Srila Gurudev has composed a very nice song explaining these 10 offenses. And we're going to see it. So we created some, let's say, some icons, some graphics in order to, let's say, simplify each one of these offenses and be able to see them in a more simplified way in order to remember them. And something very nice that I've been reading from Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj and has been very clarifying is that the 10 offenses come from our tendency of exploitation. So each one of these offenses is actually coming from that root. And as we hear, ultimately that is like coming from our ego. So that ego that we are the enjoyers and things are for our purpose. And so he also speaks that the namabas, which is the shadow form, let's say, or a very light or faint connection with the holy name, that is coming from our tendency of renunciation. So we have these two aspects, renunciation and exploitation, and these things are coming about all of these, let's say, inappropriate things in our path of practicing life. And so we can see that ultimately what our adjustment should be is trying to come into this plane of dedication where we are trying to give and serve. So as we also hear that the main feeling in our chanting of the holy name is, as Devashis Prabhu was explaining, Sevon Mukhe. So like our attitude of service, trying to pray for that service mood. And that is because we want to avoid these offenses, and that will come naturally when we develop that service mood. So the first offense is regarding the sadhu, and so we don't want to commit any kind of disrespect or offense towards the sadhu, because the sadhu is the person who is like the agent of the name. He is the one who is coming to this world and giving out that holy name and practicing and glorifying that name. So naturally, if we commit some offense to them, the name will not be satisfied with us, because the sadhu is giving us the name and then we are committing some offense to that sadhu. So, number 1 in Srila Gurudev's composition, this is the translation. The Harinam Mahamantra is the best of all mantras and is distributed throughout the world by the mercy of the sadhus devoted to the name. Never criticize such great souls. So number 1, as we were saying, this is, as the icon also is expressing, honoring. So the positive aspect of that offense is that we must honor all of the sadhus. If we naturally honor all of the Vaishnavas, then we will not fall into that type of offense. And something nice that I heard is sometimes maybe you can think, who is a Vaishnava, or how do I know who is a Vaishnava? But we hear that if we naturally try to give honor to everyone, then we are going to be in a safe position. So that's number 1. And number 2 is Krishna, that we must consider Krishna supreme, and we must know that he is supreme. And I'm going to quickly read the translation. Rajendra Nandan Krishna is the Lord of all lords. Shiva and all other gods are dedicated to his service. The name is a wish-fulfilling jewel and a spiritual form of Krishna himself. Do not consider Krishna's name to be distinct from his form, qualities, or pastimes. So in Srila Guru Maharaj's book, he's also explaining, especially to avoid demigod worship, and I wanted to read his explanation. I'm sorry, let me just say something about the previous one. He says, okay, if we abuse and dishonor his agents, then the name is dissatisfied. Only the devotees of Krishna are real saints, because they are after eternal life. Those persons who worship demigods for temporary gain are not considered saints. They may be neglected, for they are not devotees. Saint means Vaishnav, or devotee. A saint is one who has no ambition in his life but to have a connection of loving service with the Supreme Lord. Only those who are agents of eternal truth, absolute good, are to be considered saintly. We must not abuse such saintly persons. And about this offense, number 2, Krishna, he says, the second offense concerns how we should treat the demigods, including Shiva, Shakti, the sun god, and all others. They are not to be considered equal or greater than Vishnu or Krishna. They are under him, and they are all inferior to him. They are given engagements by the Supreme Lord Krishna, and they have to discharge their duties according to his order. They are never equal or superior to Krishna. So, in this icon, we also wanted to show that by putting, let's say, Krishna in a central position. So we wanted to show Krishna as something that is very great and absolute. So the form of the circle, we can say, is trying to show us that. And like everything is emanating from the Lord. And these inferior entities, like demigods and so many, they are all simply, as Guru Maharaj said there, discharging the duties of service towards Krishna. And also within that circle is 4 aspects, which is Nama, the name of the Lord, Guna, the qualities of the Lord, Rupa, the form of the Lord, and Leela, the pastimes of the Lord. And that is also kind of to understand that these things are one with the Lord. So when we are chanting the holy name, Krishna is directly there, and that is, like, that potency is there. It's not that he is different from his name. Number 3 is Guru. And in this icon we have these 2 circles trying to show that Guru is the same, or is the representative of Krishna. And Krishna in the, I think it's the Bhagavad Gita, he says that he is the Acharya Mam. So I am the Acharya, and I come into this world, and I am the one who is giving myself. So as we hear, there is no other person who can give Krishna than Krishna himself. So he is coming, and he has that position. So when we look at our Guru, we must see that Krishna is present there. He is equal to him. And also the second, let's say, aspect it's trying to be shown here is that we ourselves don't want to consider ourselves on the same level as the Guru. So we don't want to see that Guru is a mortal person or a human being. And about that, Srila Guru Maharaj says, the third offense is to consider the Guru a human being. Although so many human symptoms may be found in him, still, according to our sincerity to meet Godhead, the Lord descends and represents himself in the Guru, to satisfy our hunger for the truth. We must see him as the agent of the Lord. It has been advised to us in a general way not to think of the Guru as a mortal being, because if our attempt to attain the Absolute is sincere, then he will also come to deliver us. God is omniscient, so through a particular agent who acts as his representative, he comes here to accept us and take us up to the higher plane. We are ordered by the advice of the scriptures to see the Guru as the representative of the Absolute, because none can give us Krishna but he himself. And in this regard also comes the question of like who is a guru. And in the Bhagavad Gita it has been explained in that shloka of Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena savaya upadekshantite gyanam dhyanina sattvadarshina. So that verse is saying who is the guru and what are his qualities and what are the qualities of the disciple. So guru is one who both has knowledge of the Absolute and also has direct experience of the Absolute. So he knows in theory and he also knows in practice, and he is living and seeing that reality. So if we see those qualities in someone, and he is our guru, we can directly consider him like non-different from Krishna. And also the qualities of the disciple are that he is surrendering to the guru, like giving himself, inquiring sincerely, and serving his guru. Number 4 is Shastra. The Vedas, their mother Gayatri and Srimad Bhagavatam worship the holy name's lotus feet, reject the association of any offender who criticizes these scriptures. So all of the scriptures, they are always glorifying and singing about the glories of the holy name and the Lord. So we must not commit any offense towards those scriptures. And we've also heard that these scriptures are like the Lord himself as well. And here we put Om because they said that Om is like the root. So Mother Gayatri and all of these things are coming from this root, and this knowledge is descending from above. And we were reading recently in Revealed Truth about Amnaya, that chapter where Srila Gurudev explains how, or what is like revealed knowledge, how to know the truth. And that spiritual knowledge is descending from above and coming down to us. Number 5 is exaggeration. To think that all of these glorifications found in the scriptures about the holy name is an exaggeration or a concoction. So Srila Gurudev in his composition says, the name's glories are proclaimed in all the scriptures. Never consider such glorification to be exaggerated praise. Agastya, Ananta, Brahma, Shiva, and so on are always devoted to chanting the name's glories. Who can cross the ocean of those glories? Anyone who considers them exaggerated praise is wicked. As Devashis Prabhu was explaining, that for us it's very hard to understand when we hear like such glorification, and he said even we shouldn't think that that is even slightly exaggerated. So that is the way it is, but because we are very limited we can't understand that. And something also that Srila Gurudev has said is that Krishna, he can eat with his hand and he can also eat with through his feet. Like he doesn't need to have his mouth really, like he can do anything. And we've heard also that example that to believe in Krishna, we have to believe that an elephant can go through the small hole of a needle, the eye of a needle. So it's like these kind of things that are inconceivable really. And as Devashis Prabhu said, the medium for us to understand these things, or for us to not commit these offenses, is faith. So we need to have faith, and strong faith of our Guru's words, what he is telling us, and the Shastra's words and the Vaishnava's words, and through that faith then we will be able to not commit these offenses. Number 6.
Did you explain the icon already?
Well, yes, sorry, I forgot. So this icon is trying to show us how big the Lord is. So the Lord is so big, he doesn't really fit into this small icon. He is super big and we are super small. So from there we can also see we are so limited, we are so small. How can we understand with our small faculties and limited abilities something that is so much greater than us? And we've heard that something very nice about humility, that really, when we realize how small and tiny we are, and how big and wonderful and great the Lord is, then naturally humility arises, because we feel, wow, I'm so small, and look how great and how glorious He is. And then we avoid that feeling of like ego, or I am the doer, or I am amazing, or whatever. Okay, number 6, interpretation. Krishna's names are the eternal wealth of Goloka. Anyone who considers them imaginary or mundane is an offender. So Srila Guru Maharaj says, the 6th offense is to interpret the holy name of Krishna with the help of the dictionary and grammar, to find diverse meanings in the words of the name. The sound is transcendental. The dictionary, grammar, and any other books of mundane knowledge cannot limit or qualify the holy name. Above the material sound of the name is the transcendental sound within. The name itself is the Supreme Person incarnate by His own free will. He is inseparable from His name and fully present in His sound form. Transcendental sound is different from the mundane sound that can be produced by the tongue and lips. In homeopathic medicine, all the globules are apparently the same, but the potency within is all important. It is something like that. The ordinary sound of the name and the sound vibrated by a pure devotee come from different planes. Sorry. The holy name descends from the spiritual world and comes to express itself by dancing on the tongue. The transcendental sound of the holy name is inseparably connected with the person whom it represents. This icon is trying to show how we are trying to use our senses and our faculty to understand that holy name. And we are looking through this magnifying glass, trying to see the meaning and understand that. But really, as we were saying before, we are very small and our abilities are very small. So interpretation, we should not think that we can even understand that, but rather that He can make Himself understood or known. Number 7 is duplicity. All the scriptures declare that the name destroys all sin. The wicked who sin all day long in expectation of this are offenders. They are deluded by Maya and suffer perpetually. Srila Guru Maharaj says, to sin and chant is suicidal. The 7th offense is to sin on the strength of the holy name. The scriptures declare that one name is sufficient to clear all the sins one can commit. So if we go on indulging, committing many sins with the idea that we will chant one name to cleanse the sin, it will be an offense to the name, and not the name proper. We cannot try to utilize Him for our service. He is above all this Maya. The real name will not appear there. We must not think, I can do anything and everything, and the name will purify me. It is written in the scriptures that if you go on with this spirit, it will be suicidal. And in this icon, we wanted to show duplicity or insincerity. So someone who is showing, let's say, two different sides, like a devotional or spiritual side, and also doesn't want to let go of this material or material attachments and tendencies. And as Devashis Prabhu was saying, that we have to eliminate in order to accept something greater and progress. So this is someone who is trying to keep one foot here and trying to go there with the other one, but he's never going to be able to move really. Number 8 is piety. Sri Krishna's incomparable name is a brimming reservoir of rasa. Chanting the name should never be considered equal to pious worldly action, such as adhering to vows, practicing renunciation, performing austerities, making sacrificial offerings, and so on. The 8th offense, the supreme purification. The 8th offense is to think that chanting the holy name is another pious activity, like penance, pilgrimage, giving in charity, service to the country, and so on. If we think lightly of the holy name in this way, then we commit an offense, because the holy name is absolute, and these other processes have only a partial relative position. Other processes are partial. They award some success in this mundane world, but the name can give the Lord Himself. So no other process of purification can hold the same position as chanting the holy name of Krishna. It is supreme, and none can come close to it. So with this icon, we wanted to show how the chanting of the holy name is of a superior nature, of a spiritual nature, and piety, let's say, or these mundane things that are of a material nature, and we use the square kind of to show what is material and something limited and confined. This can never be compared to chanting the holy name, and as we've heard many times people have come like with this type of question to our gurus, like because people are sometimes inclined, it's a very subtle thing. You may think that this is good as well, to help others, and like piety and charity and people who are in need, people who are dying, hospitals. Like, why isn't it important to address these things and to try to do these type of activities? And like our gurus have been quite strong with explaining how this is something of a completely different nature, and no other process can really help someone in the way this can help them, like to really understand who they are. And ultimately, that beginning point talking about the soul, if we understand that, then we'll see how everything else, any other help that someone is giving in this world, is really helping the body or helping the mind, but none of these things are going to the root problem, which is that we are identifying ourselves with something that we are not. And that is what Krishna's name is coming to give us, the proper conception of our real self. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in his Shiksastakam, his first sloka, is so beautiful in explaining that, how the name of the Lord is coming and is like cleaning that mirror of the heart, and by that purification, then all suffering, all of this blazing fire of suffering that is within us, that is being extinguished, and we are being purified until that point where this lotus is like blooming and opening, and we are realizing who we really are. And once we realize that, then we are also relishing, like we're bathing again and again in this chanting that is giving us so much happiness and real happiness. Number 9 is giving the holy name to the faithless. In this icon, we wanted to show like how the holy name is coming from above. He is descending. But sometimes if we are not a proper receiver, then, like if someone is not a proper receiver, then you can't really give them the holy name, because it has to come from both parts. We have to try to be a proper receiver, and that grace will come down. So we did this is like a twofold thing. First of all, this one showing how there is opposite movements. So someone is trying to give, but if someone is not interested, he's going in a different direction. And this would be like the proper connection. Someone who wants to receive and who is trying to be a good receiver, and the holy name which is descending and giving himself. And recently we were hearing from Vishakha Devi the reading of the Revealed Truth, and Gurudev was giving a very beautiful example, saying that we have understood through scientists, they have showed us how connection or transmission through subtle means is possible, something that no one would have ever imagined. How we can, like if you would have said something like about television or some transmission that can be, or a phone call that can happen between even like countries. I can be here speaking with someone from a totally different country. People would have thought that you were crazy by saying that, because how is that possible? How can you speak to someone right now who is in India, let's say? And now we can see it through the internet and the television and all of these things, that if we have a proper receiver and we tune that receiver to the right sync, then it can catch these subtle transmissions. So in the similar way, Gurudev is saying heart-to-heart transmission. So this transmission, the Lord is everywhere, and He's always giving, and there's so much to receive, but we need to adjust ourselves in order to catch that. So it's a living thing, as Vishakha was saying. Gurudev says, those who have no faith in the name have been deceived by providence. To give the name to them is certainly an offense. So also, Srila Guru Maharaj explains a little more about this one. The ninth offense is to give the name to those who do not deserve it, who have no faith in chanting the name. If you press them to chant the holy name, a bad reaction will come to you. Also, without getting any inspiration, we should not make disciples and give Harinam initiation. We will commit offense against the name if we try to make a business or trade with name giving. If we give the name to anyone and everyone out of greed for becoming a guru, then it will be an offense. Without sanction from above, if one runs to become a guru to get name and fame with some mundane purpose, then it is a great offense. So Srila Gurudev also, when he was giving initiation, he would usually say that he's giving this name because you are a sincere seeker. So someone who is sincerely seeking, who really wants to receive this holy name, then that person is fit, one who has that type of desire. Number 10 is resistance. Sripad Devashis Prabhu was explaining about this offense as well before, how the holy name is trying to take us in one current. He's coming, and we are not flowing. We are like staying stagnant and not moving. So that is also an offense, to be chanting. So we are inviting Krishna, we're inviting the Lord, and we are trying to connect with Him through the holy name. And then when the Lord is trying to move us in a certain direction, we are ignoring Him. Those who remain devoid of love for Krishna's name, even after hearing His boundless glories, are deplorable fallen souls. The pure name of Krishna never reveals Himself to those who are internally and externally ridden with egotism and possessiveness. Let's read Srila Guru Maharaj's explanation. The 10th offense is to be too much addicted to a particular thing, or to have too much affinity towards the body and bodily wealth. When a boat is anchored, rowing will simply move the boat around the anchor. The anchor must be taken up, and then the boat can move forward. So we must not anchor ourselves down with a particular thing. We must be open. The name will create some transformation within the mental system, and we must be open and unprejudiced enough to go where the name will send us. If we carefully try to avoid that transformation and stick to our present life, that is an offense against the name, to invite him and then ignore him. We must not accept the name as a foreign thing. He is our friend. We should be quite at home with him. We are going to attain a very soothing and friendly connection by the realization of the holy name of Krishna, which is all good, all beautiful, and all charming. By chanting the holy name, we will attain our most desirable end of life and go back to God, back to home, and not to any foreign country. We must take the name in a friendly, affectionate way. The name is the only object of our love. He is our friend and not any anti-party. So the name will take us home. That is our sweet home, and he is our sweet guardian.
Bobby's sleeping.
That is our sweet home, and he is our sweet guardian. With this spirit we shall go on chanting the holy name of Krishna. These are the 10 offenses to be avoided in chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So the last thing Gurudev also says in his poem, great souls who avoid these 10 offenses and engage in Harinam Sankirtan attain unprecedented Sri Krishna Prema. The name himself plays within their hearts eternally. Jai Ram Sripad Devashis Govinda Dev Daswami Maharaj ki Jai.
Hi, Shyamasundari Devi Dasi ki Jai. A few small little short presentations. We've heard so much from Devashis Prabhu, and Shyamasundari Devi has prepared this lovely presentation also. And few devotees, we're going to share some appreciation of the name, glorification of the name. So I'd like to ask Virachandra Prabhu first this time. Yeah, his voice is also soft. You want to sit here for a little more facing.
Okay. So Vishakha has asked me to say something about Guru. I'm guessing the connection is obviously that you have the name, and then there is the giver, or the person who's given you the name. That would be Guru. So I thought about one shloka which I learned when I was in Green Street, doing the puja every day. I used to recite a few shlokas for Guru, because during the puja you start with Guru, and then you do Mahaprabhu, and then Radha Krishna, and then Tulsi, and then the Guru Parampara. But so every day in the puja booklet you have some shlokas that you're meant to recite, and that's like part of the worship. And one shloka which is very nice, which Srila Srila Maharaj, he very often he quotes it, is Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langayate Girim Vyakti Pakamahangam Shri Guru Inataranam. It's it bounces off your tongue kind of, it's like it rolls really nicely, which is one very beautiful aspect of it. But also the meaning is quite nice as well. And you know, I've learned it on it's not an exact translation, I'm sure the translation is there within the minds of everyone in the audience. But just generally, it's basically saying that Guru, his power, his potency is such that he can make the person who cannot speak, he uses the word dumb, but obviously people understand that word differently now. That, and he who cannot speak, he can speak eloquently, and he can speak eloquently. So that's one thing. The second thing is that a man who is crippled, he can walk and cross over mountains. So two things really with that is that someone might, when they read that, they might think, oh, it's like it's just exaggeration, or it's someone's, they're trying to make, they're trying to give you some encouragement or something, or they're trying to make you feel that Guru, you should worship Guru, so here's a shloka that would kind of encourage you to do so. But I think there's probably two positions. One position is it might be some encouragement, maybe that's one position. The second position is it's true, but you probably have to have faith in the Guru for it to become true. Because if you don't have faith in the Guru, I imagine that it's there has to be some part from you. It can't just be everything him. So if you're going to walk over those mountains and you're a cripple, you have to have faith in your Guru. If you don't have faith in the Guru, then it's possible that it could happen miraculously, but I would say the chances of it happening are quite small. So that shloka is very nice and beautiful, very, very beautiful. But there was one more quote that I wanted to share. It's not by a Vaishnava as such, but it's a man called Dr. Zeus. That's the position. And I think you can take the shloka and you can use it for the position of Guru. It's a very, very nice shloka. It says, to the world you may be one man, but to one man you may be the world. That, I think I saw that the other day on Facebook, and I was just, I thought that was quite nice. Because, maybe to the outside world, they look at a picture of Shri Govinda Maharaj, maybe they, it could be that they feel inspired, maybe they just think, oh, he looks like a nice man, or whatever. But to the person, to some people, that person may be everything. It could be the difference between, real meaning in their life and no meaning in their life. So from that point of view, because meaning holds the ultimate position, in the sense that if you don't have any meaning, you don't really have anything worth having anyway. So meaning is the absolute position, or the absolute thing, I would probably say. And your Gurudev is the one who imparts the meaning to you. So from that point of view, naturally, or logically, you could say that the Guru then holds the ultimate position. And so he is everything. He means the world. So the way I didn't really prepare for this. I took those two things and I thought that I'd mention them because they're quite inspirational to me, and that's why I've chosen to mention it. But the connection is obviously that this is about the 10 offences and how to chant properly, and obviously Gurudev, he's the one that's given you the 10 offences in the first place, so it's worth hearing about Sri Guru as well. Okay?
Okay, well, Radharani was meant to go up, but now she's doing puja. Also, Mahamantra was going to speak, but he's sick today. Was there anyone else who would agree? Hope I'm not missing anyone. Who else was there? Mahamantra's sick. Others I asked said no. Virachandra spoke. Radharani's doing puja. I think that's everyone.
Over to you then.
And also we had someone with some questions for Devashis. So after this, then we'll go back to Devashis. Lakshmi Kanti, but she had to go. Didi, you have the list of questions, is it? Sorry, what's that? Vandita, okay. I don't know if I need that. I think I don't. My voice is louder than Veera and Shyamasundari.
I can hear you.
Okay, well, I was thinking to share one beautiful verse of Srila Rupa Goswami, which, and dear to our Param Gurudev also, he included in Prapana Jivanamrita, and also there's a section in Search for Sri Krishna that he discusses very wonderfully. Glorification of the name, Nikila Shuti Moli, Atnamala, Duti Narajita, Pada Pankajanta, Ayi Mukta Kuler, Pashamana, Paritastam, Harinama, Samashayama. And here, Srila Rupa Goswami, he is comparing the Upanishads. You know, he's the Upanishads. Here they're referred to as Shruti Mauli, Nikula Shruti Mauli. The Shruti is referring to the Veda, and Mauli means like the head or the crown, or like the crown jewels, you can say. So Shruti Mauli is referring to the Upanishads because they are giving higher spiritual advice, more exclusive, more pure spiritual advice compared to other sections of the Veda. And so these Upanishads, they are compared to like these crown jewels, and they're ratna mala. They are strung like a beautiful mala or a necklace of jewels. And these Upanishads, they are doing worship of the holy name with the effulgence that is coming from these beautiful jewels. They are doing arati, like with the fire lamp. One of the original idea. Now we have modern technology, electricity, and so on. But in the early days, one of the ideas of the fire lamp was to illuminate the form of the Lord in the early morning or late at night, in the darkness. Then the fire of the lamp is illuminating the form of the Lord to the devotees who are participating in the arati. And so, in the same way, the Upanishads, they are the highest section of the Vedas. They are doing arati, they are doing worship and illuminating the glory of the holy name. Srila Sridhar Maharshi explains how if we look with an ordinary eye at the Veda and the Upanishads, we will not see this. But if we look with some closer and finer vision, we will see that they have some central source, and they have some central purpose, and that is the holy name of the Lord. And so this is the central purpose and central objective of the highest section of the Veda, to give their worship to the holy name. And then the shloka goes on, Ayi mukta kule upashamana, that the liberated souls, they are worshipping you. That the holy name is not a mundane vibration, and is not something that can be properly approached by persons in a conditioned state, but the liberated souls, the pure souls, they are glorifying. They are able to properly approach you. They are able to properly connect with you and glorify you. So what kind of high and dignified position does the holy name have? And paritas means like they are surrounding, like in a circle. That they are, Param said, like all the great liberated souls, like we can say, like Narada, Shukadeva, and so on. They are coming like in a crowd, surrounding the holy name, very eager to offer their worship, to offer their praise to the holy name. So paritastam, harinama, samshayami. Then concluding, I am samshayami. This, we know the word ashray, taking shelter, referring to shelter. But this samshayami, this sam meaning samyak, complete, full. I am fully taking full shelter of the holy name. And sometimes we see that as indicating, without any offenses, we are approaching the name free from offense. Then we can really approach the name. Or also it's sometimes we've seen it also put as in every time, place, circumstance, we are taking shelter of the name, not something we're doing it. Prabhu gave this wonderful presentation about chanting japa, but also, as Prabhu also concluded with that essential point, it's at the end. Ultimately, it's not just about japa, on the beads, but it's a whole culture. It's a whole 24-hour culture. So, with your japa or without your japa, whatever you're doing, wherever you are, we want to develop this tendency within us of always feeling the necessity to call upon the Lord in the form of His name. And if we can do that, free from these obstacles, then be prepared. Mahaprabhu in Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's that beautiful description how Mahaprabhu, when he meets with the Mayavadi sannyasis in Varanasi, they question Mahaprabhu. We are very puzzled, because we see that you come from a good family. You were Nimai Pandit. We know you're a very intelligent person, and you're like a Mayavadi sannyasi. You're like one of us. So, but we cannot understand why you're behaving like this sentimentalist in the street. Crying and dancing and rolling on the ground, and so we fail to understand. We can't make the connection here. And then Mahaprabhu says, please try to understand. I'm not trying to do this. But my Gurudev told me, you're a fool. You're not qualified to study Vedanta. You just chant the names of Krishna. So then I started to chant these names, and then all these strange symptoms started coming to me. But it wasn't my plan. It wasn't my idea. It just came. And I went back to my Guru and I said, "Oh Gurudev, what kind of a mantra did you give me?" I started chanting it. All these things started happening. Like, what's going on? And my Gurudev said, "Don't worry, you are very fortunate. This has been described in scripture. So you are very blessed. You please continue." So Mahaprabhu, he showed the example. What happens when you chant without offense? And, we're going through a nartini vritti. We have to go through some purification. And of course, not that the idea is that we can experience all of these cool symptoms, but those are really an outer, that's like a symptom, an outer expression of the love that will be within one's heart. Well, I think I'll stop there. Just a few words, and maybe we can go back to Devashis Prabhu.
Jai.
Yeah, I think it's very nice what you said. It's not like so much time spending on only japa mala, 2 hours or 4 hours, but the 24-hour culture of us to really realize what we have gotten, and we see also that actually there's nothing without Krishna, that everything is Krishna, there's nothing beside what is not Krishna. And if we know that actually 99% of the people are already in the spiritual world, this is the place where the people who don't get it are. So, but, you know, Krishna made this place for us, this material world, to exchange that love with his devotees, and for the others also who can come, can have a chance to also have that. So actually, this is a very, very good opportunity. But also realizing this is not a real, this material world is only a reflection of that spiritual world, and everything is meant for Krishna. It's only that a few didn't get it, and we have this opportunity gotten so much from our gurus and Mahaprabhu that to really, that we realize that there is just nothing besides Krishna. That is all what there is, and for us to go in the plane of enjoyment or renunciation, for that we know too much. It's just not, it's a waste of time. So about chanting of the holy name and all this cultivation of our fortune, we can have a loving relationship with Krishna, right? And I mean, Guru, the Guru represents Krishna and Nityananda and Mahaprabhu, and ultimately it's Krishna who is in charge and who is expanded in all these beautiful personalities and gives us a family in which we have got, how do you say? A family with God and all the people who are dear to him, all the devotees who are dear to him, all the persons who are dear to him.
Devashis, you want to take a seat there?
All right.
We've lost most of our audience.
Right. It's getting late. Everyone's getting a little bit tired. Okay. Try.
Did you want to read out some questions? Let's see here. So this is from Lakshmi Kanti. If you could please kindly elaborate on the treatment of our actual japa beads / bag, how this is also important in our chanting, since I've heard that we should treat our japas like deities, not hanging the bag carelessly.
Yes. Yeah. Actually, it is a fact that our Tulsi Mala, given to us by our Gurudev, it is a deity, and we should consider the Japamala as such. That means we should keep the Japamala respectfully, not carelessly. So first of all, Guru Maharaj, he didn't approve of keeping the japa mala in multicolored bead bags or with pictures of Krishna on, or badges, or pockets for putting your money in, or any of those things. He said the mala has no varna or ashram, is transcendental, and his clothes should be a white bead bag. This is Guru Maharaj's. And he said, even if you are a brahmachari or sannyasi, not a saffron bead bag, a white bead bag, and not patterns or pictures or anything. This is his cloth, his clothes, the japamala. So we should think in that way, not that You may be of a certain ashram, but he is not of that ashram. The mala is not of that ashram. So this was Guru Maharaj, a simple Vaishnava, and he's always keeping white bead bag. So that first thing. And then also that when you are not chanting on your mala, the mala should be kept in a respectful place. Clean place, high place, sacred place. You can keep your japamala on your altar, or you can not carelessly. And we're not to, unless it's unavoidable, not to take the mala into the bathroom or places like that, unclean places. Sometimes if you're traveling, it may be unavoidable, but at least with some consideration and maybe a little prayer before we are to do that. As if you hang it outside and you go in and you come back, it's gone. It has happened. So you cannot allow that also. And mala will not take offense. But we are not to wear like everywhere, eat with the japamala around our neck and think this is not proper. You shouldn't offer your obeisances when you're holding your japamala in your hand or wearing it around your neck. You should keep, and when you take prasadam, you should put your mala hang your mala. If you have it with you, hang it somewhere in a clean place and not to wear while eating. Again, as much as practical. But the habit of just taking it everywhere and everywhere with you, you should not do that. Unless it is unavoidable. Again, if we make a time, a specific time for doing our mala seva, then that's the only time when we need to have the mala with us. But if you're traveling somewhere, obviously you'll take your mala with you. But again, to keep in a respectful place and clean place. And Guru Maharaj also told us, before taking the mala, you should wash your hands before touching the tulsi mala. Just like as a matter of practice. Even if ostensibly your hands are clean, still, like you will wash your hands before you sit down to eat, you should wash your hands before you sit down to do your mala seva. And generally, hands, mouth, feet, you can wash before you begin. And like that. And we should avoid dealing with the mala in a casual way. We should consider it as like our deity. So where the deity is, we will make some arrangements for keeping that in a respectful way. Actually, our deity is the holy name. When I asked Guru Maharaj, many years ago, then I wanted to do some archan, puja, and I asked Guru Maharaj, can I keep a deity in my home? And he wrote in reply to my letter, he said, Harinam is our deity. No other deity is necessary. But if you want to do some archan, puja, seva, we can discuss when you come. And later on we did, and he gave me my Giriraj Govardhan Shila. But the name is sufficient. And the chanting, and that we should consider that as our deity. So when we approach the deity on the altar, we do that with some reverence, with some respect, and this way we should treat our mala the same way. Even I saw sometimes when Guru Maharaj giving Harinam, after the devotee received Harinam, he's making his obeisance to Guru Maharaj, and sometimes they're touching Guru Maharaj's feet. And Guru Maharaj, first of all, he'd never liked that anyone will touch his feet, even his disciples. Sometimes he's tolerating, but generally he doesn't like that. Even I heard him tell, oh, you think it is so easy to touch the feet of Guru? Just like it's a physical thing, and like chastisement. But other times I saw, when giving Harinam, if the disciple's touching his feet, he told, now wash your hands before you touch your japamala. He's saying like that. You touch my... He's thinking, my dirty feet you touch, now you have to wash your hands before you touch your japamala. So this way, anyway. It is a good question. We should try to always approach everything which is given by Gurudev, what is sacred. We should try to approach that in a reverential mood and a serious mood. And if we take our mala seva in a serious way, then it's more likely that we'll avoid that offense of being inattentive to it. It's just a casual thing, you know, take it off the shelf and blah 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 blah. It shouldn't be like that. So it's a very good question, and I hope that there's some answer towards that.
Did Param Kumar say anything about like I mean, like myself, I never go out with my mala. I always keep in my room. I mean, I do that, I think mainly because I'm afraid of losing it.
Yeah.
But I see many devotees, well, especially in another institution.
They
don't
going
go
everywhere.
Anywhere without their mala.
Sure.
They go everywhere they're going.
Yeah.
Did you hear any?
Well, Guru Maharaj quoted a verse, and maybe you know where it is. I don't, but I've heard it many times. But I heard Guru Maharaj say, 3 things you should keep concealed: your mala, your guru, and your mantra. You should not reveal that to others. So there's a general instruction, not to show these things to the public. So we saw that when some devotees, I noted when some devotee from our mott going anywhere, if they're taking their japa mala, they're always concealing under their cloth. They're not like parading that around, you know. So generally, as I mentioned before, Guru Maharaj didn't favor taking the mala everywhere with you, you know, like your accessory or something, you know. And if you're maintaining your mala seva in a regular way, there should be no necessity for that. I think that they're taking that because they have their quota of rounds to finish, you know. Then whatever they're doing, Hare Krishna, Hare, you know, anyone looking at, then they're taking it with them so that they can do that. But Guru Maharaj was not so much in favor of that. He's more in favor that we will give our full attention to that. And you can go everywhere and anywhere and chant the name of Krishna. But when you're doing your mala seva, that you should give like specific attention to that. That shouldn't be a casual thing. And just taking it wherever you go, that's a casual thing. We should try to avoid that. Sometimes it's unavoidable, but it shouldn't be really your habit to do that. Keep the mala safe and keep the mala in a respectful place. And that was Guru Maharaj's mood. And that I heard him say sometimes. He would quote that shloka. You conceal your mantra, your guru, and your mala. Not to put that on display. Was there another question?
That was everything that
okay.
was on the list at the time.
Very good.
Another question.
Yeah.
I don't know if there were any cases of when you lose your japa mala. Maybe you could speak about that.
Yeah, Guru Maharaj would be very unhappy if anyone would lose their japa mala. And he would sometimes he would say, still I have the same mala that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur gave me. And if you ever saw Guru Maharaj's mala, his Tulsi mala was like black, like ebony, from the oil because he's always chanting on that japa mala. And when someone would ask for another mala, he would also sometimes become very disturbed. He would give it. Oh, I lost my mala, and he would give that, but he was not happy to do that because he's considering that it's a very precious thing. And sometimes it's stolen or something happens like that. What to do? And Guru Maharaj would give. I remember one time when I was leaving, and Guru Maharaj's secretary said, "Oh, Devashis Prabhu Jabin, mala din," and Guru Maharaj said, "Mala?" Like he's getting upset now. Mala? What? Why he's not got his mala? And then he said, "No, full of mala. Can you give a flower garland? Give flower garland to him. He's leaving Maharaj." Oh, okay. That's okay then. So it is. We should hold it as most sacred. But sometimes the mala becomes lost or stolen, or it's out of no fault of anyone. It can happen. Then Guru Maharaj would give again. But he would make you would sit in on someone's initiation. I saw, not myself, I still have my mala which Guru Maharaj gave me. But I saw others who were receiving that mala. When he's giving Harinam to someone, they would sit and he would give as giving Harinam again. Chant on that mala and give like that. So not like, just, yeah, here you go. It would be a sacred thing. Japa mala is a sacred thing. But you should guard it. Guard your japa mala as precious as your child. You won't just leave your child somewhere without that much conscious. You should be of where is your mala at every time. And maybe it's the same here, I don't know. But in Green Street, often someone's mala's hanging up, and like for weeks, on a peg someone left it hanging there, and then they take it and put it in the office, and it's still there. Like, whose mala was that?
We have a couple in the office.
Yeah. So like, what is that? Of course, some people just buy their mala from the market stall and chant on that, but we're not doing that. In Chaitanya Saraswat Math, as was the what was established by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, mala is given by the Guru. When Akinchan Maharaj, he joined Guru,